Hey guys, off the top rope here, off the Mike Sports Network. So I've talked a lot about AEW here on this segment, also on this channel in general. Um, so coming out of Revolution, obviously, seeing what has transpired, specifically in the last couple of years, I have grown to see a lot of the flaws that have plagued this company for a while. Tony Khan just runs his company like he's a fan, like he's a fanboy Mark. And the people that he is exhausting resources to spend money on, like giving Mercedes Mone a big contract, giving Okada a big contract, giving Will Ospreay a big contract. A lot of names, Cope and John Moxley. Here's the big takeaway that you need to know, and why this product has been inconsistent to pretty terrible. A lot of the people in this company, specifically the talent, and Tony Khan is going to do whatever the fuck he wants because he's the boss, but he's running it like he's a fucking fanboy, and he doesn't have the gall or the nerve or just really the huevos, we'll call it, to tell his talent to fuck off and say, hey, this is how we're doing business. That's why CM Punk's not there anymore. That's why Cody Rhodes isn't there anymore. Because he's buying into certain people, he's siding with certain people, he has his own image that he has in his head. But the big problem with this company, obviously number one is Tony Khan, but a comparable, if not bigger issue, is I think a lot of people in this company don't have their priorities in check. Everybody says that they're about making AEW one of the best wrestling companies in the world. I think a lot of people are out for themselves. And some people specifically that I respect a lot. You guys have heard me talk extensively on this channel about how much I grew up admiring and just obviously the comeback story of Edge Adam Copeland. I think the guy's story is amazing. He's broken his neck multiple times. He's had issues. He was able to come back after 9 years, after, almost thinking he might be in a wheelchair, to, coming back at the Royal Rumble, one of the greatest returns of all time, has this incredible run in WWE. And then it runs out. WWE doesn't need him. He goes immediately to AEW. Guy hasn't lost. He's lost only to his best friend, and he took a loss in a trios match to Malachi Black, which ended with him winning the match, doing a stupid spot in that cage in Las Vegas at Double or Nothing last year. And Cope, like, look at what happened in that terrible main event at Revolution. Like, guy didn't want to get pinned. What are we doing? Why are we pushing 50-plus-year-old Adam Copeland in the main event? Like, if we're about putting over the younger talent, Adam Copeland would have lost a hell of a lot more. Like, yes, you don't have to be Bryan Danielson and put everybody over, which is a big problem with him. Find a middle point. And like actually help these younger talent get over. Adam Copeland only taking losses to Christian and Malachi Black, who's no longer there and is already being hinted to return on SmackDown. That doesn't help AEW. That helps Adam Copeland. John Moxley, another great example. Hey, he parlayed that, and he's got this terrible Death Rider storyline. I don't know what he's got on Tony Khan. He's all about himself. He didn't want to lose the world title. So you give all these people creative control, they're going to have it out for themselves. And then there's Mercedes Mone, the worst example. Well, and also, before I get to Mercedes, let me talk about Okada, because I think Okada. Look, I'm not gonna say Okada's overrated, but based off what I've seen in Japan and what I've seen in him here, I don't think he's trying either. And also, I think they're just letting him coast. They're not forcing him to do anything, which I think is ridiculous. They massively overpaid for him, and that's a mistake. If you're gonna bring in a guy with the esteem and like the resume that is Kazuchika Okada, have him do more shit than have him win the Continental Championship, which is a nothing championship. And basically, he has just been window dressing for most of the year, just so we can get to a Kenny Omega match that we've seen, 5 or 6 times. And Okada, like, listen, if he were actually trying, then sure. But that hasn't benefited. And I'm not going to say that he has creative control, but I'm saying, listen, if you're going to pay that kind of money, that's not helping AEW. You're just talent stacking. And that's not helping you grow the people that you have there. I think MJF has kind of coasted a little bit too. Like, I mean, he's kind of, gotten back a little bit into his element in terms of his edge. But since he came back from that injury, I don't know what in the fuck has been going on there. Again, guys looking out for themselves and, not trying. And it seems like MJF really hasn't evolved as a character really since, the return from injury at Double or Nothing this past year. So there's that. And then there's Mercedes Mone, which is to me the worst example of this whole thing. And she can say whatever she wants about how, she is prioritizing AEW or she cares about AEW. That is a load of crap. And let me be clear before you guys clip this off. I have the utmost respect for Mercedes Varnado and what she did as Sasha Banks. I have the utmost respect for everything that she built and what she has parlayed into getting what she has, which is, all the creative control, that huge contract, all the glitz and glamour that she has, everything that comes with, her being the CEO now. But let's be real. Her having creative control and, having all this money and all this power has been a disaster because it has led to net nothing. It has benefited nobody in AEW because in the end, Mercedes Mone cares about one person, the CEO. That's who she cares about. Because if she really cared about AEW, ask yourself this: why does she still have this TBS title at this point? Because what has that done for her? She's just beaten everybody. She's ran through the whole women's division. She's ran through beating Willow after Willow just had their big championship win. That didn't help Willow, and Willow went immediately into a feud that meant nothing with Chris Statlander. She beats Chris Statlander, Hikaru Shida. She has that terrible feud with Britt Baker. None of this has worked. And her character and all the equity, and I've talked about this in another video, the equity that she built and the goodwill that she had in WWE has almost been exhausted in a year because all she cares about is herself. If she really cared and she really valued this women's division, she would have put some people over by now. The fuck's going on with Camille? That was supposed to be something. That led to nothing. Statlander, you had multiple matches, didn't put Statlander over. I think also part of this is also Tony Khan, I think, has some pettiness and wants her to clear the Jade Cargill. But listen, none of this is working. All of these people have been given creative control, which is a huge problem. You have multiple people exercising the ability that they've signed. And, yes, what was a drawing point for AEW at one point, it's saying, oh yeah, we want full creative control over our characters rather than having some doofus write something or, come up with something creative because Vince McMahon was so bad at this. Now it's working to the detriment of AEW because now you got all these people who are only looking out for their own best interest and they're getting exposed. Like Adam Copeland and his ego is getting exposed. Jon Moxley and his ego is getting exposed. Why do we get that finish at Revolution? Why is Mercedes Moné doing a match with Momo Watanabe on a pay-per-view? Because she needs another win. And it's just like all of these people, it would be so much better if they had their priorities in check and, actually cared. And then extending that, if they had a boss who wasn't a fucking mark, who just is so happy to have the greatest roster ever and using all of his money to spend it like these people are toys, and these people are taking advantage of him, and he's so blinded with fan eyes that he can't see that these people are taking him for a fucking ride. You could talk about the great roster that you have, but it doesn't mean shit when it's not meaning anything in the ratings, and all these people are doing what's in the best interest of them and not what's in the best interest of AEW. Until that gets sorted out, this company is not going to improve. And I've just been noticing these trends lately. There are a lot of people who are team players still in this company that still want to see the best interest of this thing happen. But then there's the people like Mercedes and these new people that they just keep bringing in for whatever reason who are really about just, coasting. And, it's fine. You cash your paychecks. But listen, if you want this company to grow, it can't just be about cash and checks and making money. It's got to be about, okay, we want to, put on a good product. Because when you have these creative control, decisions get made and stuff like what's been happening in the last 2 years gets put on television. and you get laziness, and you get people just not caring, or you get people looking out for their own best interests. And again, like I said, until that gets fixed, I don't think AEW is going to be a much better product than it is. There's still good wrestling there. There's still talented people there. I just think their priorities are not in the right place. So fix it. Anyway, I'll see you guys soon. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.